welcome to In My Mug, episode 362. Today, no news. Today, no Roland's Daft Fact, thank God. We can put this away. Yeah. I was having a bad, weird dream when we came up with that idea. Because we have a special guest, I'm joined by my good friend and one of my favourite coffee producers. You don't want your dad to let me say that. Coffee producer from Nicaragua and Honduras, Mr. Erwin Maresh. So the coffee we're doing this week is obviously El Salvadorian. It's Nicaragua. Okay. And we're going to be doing one of the coffees that first year of having it. So if people want to find out your story, we're doing a Tampa Tantrum in a couple of weeks where Erwin talks a little bit about the family and stuff like that. We recorded that yesterday. Mm-hmm. So you can go and watch it there. We're not going to do that, but we're going to talk a little bit about San Jose, the farm. Mm-hmm. So it's fairly new to the family. How long ago did you start working the land there, and tell us a little bit about the history of it?
No, it's one of our first farms, one of our newest farms. We bought at that farm off the bank, from the bank, so it was like around 2006. So it was the bank had these two farms, which is San Jose and La Escondida, mm-hmm. and that they had taken over, and they had been, they say working, but they were really abandoned. La Escondida was all cattle land, and San Jose is the part where they had a little bit of coffee. So
that's the thing with Escondida, and when I've done Escondida on here a few weeks back. It was a brand new plantation there, but on San Jose you had some varietals already there.
Yes.
What was there when you took over?
When we first took it over, we had a little bit of caturra, which was in the entrance of the farm. That was around 1,250 meters above sea level.
And is that still there?
That's still there.
Yeah.
We have taken out part of it, to replant.
Yeah.
Because it was just too old, and we got hit up with some rust as well.
Okay.
But then the rest of the farm was red catuai.
Okay. And that has gone, hasn't it?
No, that's still there.
Oh, that's still there as well.
Still there.
Oh, okay, I've never seen the red catuai from there.
No, most of it's red catuai.
Oh, okay.
Actually, the most amount of coffee we have coming out of there is red catuai.
I'm saying that this is the first year of working with it, so
yes.
But I mean, I've seen samples from the farm for the last few years, but mm-hmm. I've kind of avoided it, if I'm honest. Not because I didn't like the cup. I liked the cup a lot, but we've got a farm in El Salvador that's called San Jose.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, it's a very common name.
Yes.
Yes. But I just thought this is going to get really confusing. But then we cooked this lot that we have here at the mill with you and Eliane this year, and we're just like, I've got to have this one. I don't care about the complexity of the name. Who cares?
Right.
So what other varietals do you have on the farm now? Because I know you've done a lot of planting.
Yeah, we have in the new areas of the farm. We started planting. The first thing that we planted was the javanica, which is the longberry.
Yeah.
So we got that from out of there, and it produced wonderfully. Then we planted some yellow Pacamara, which
is this one.
This one, and it's taken us a while for it to really start producing, because since it's so high up, it grows much slower, and just recently we planted, about 2 years ago, we planted Safanagorina, which is the naturally low producing caffeine coffee.
I know the story behind this one, but I'm going to do it anyways. How did you end up with that coffee? Because that's pretty difficult to get hold of. You can't go into a seed shop and say, "Can I have some Lorena, please?" And they go, "Certainly. How much would you like, sir?"
I was in Brazil, at the university there in Minas Gerais, and they had it, and I kind of got it, illegally. Kind of the way
you borrowed it.
I borrowed it, exactly, but no, I mean, it was kind of the way you got your cable, your telephone cable. You told them you were taking it. So I guess, like you say, if you tell them you're taking it, it's not really considered stealing.
No, I don't think so. I'm going to have this. Oh, I'm glad you find it funny.
Exactly.
And that's what happened with the seeds.
That's what happened with the seeds. Obviously, I wasn't, I didn't want an abuse, so I only took about a handful, and so when we first started, it was only 20, 30, trees that we had, so from there we had...
So 20 trees, even after 4 years, will give you, what, £20 maybe?
Not even that much, because the seed is so small,
of course,
and the yields are so low, they don't weigh that much. We're getting maybe 10 pounds.
So then you were taking that £10 and
using it as seed again.
Right.
But because of the way that La Guarina is, you have a much lower percentage of sprouting than you do, from the regular compared to the regular coffee.
So for those at home that may not kind of know, to get a seed, you've got to, like, the moisture content has to remain in the seed.
Exactly.
You start like a potato, you'll get a sprout come off it, and if it sprouts, then you can get a little soldier from it, which will then turn into something you can use, or it just won't sprout and it's no good.
And you lose.
Normally
lose
that
coffee.
would be.
For what the sprouting?
Yeah.
The sprouting normally takes anywhere between 40 to 60 days.
But how many would normally sprout and how many wouldn't on a normal varietal?
On normal varietal, you have anywhere between 75 to 82%, of sprouting.
And on Lorena?
On Lorena, we had maybe 20%. Because I mean, it's that's one of the other reasons why this variety has been disappearing from around the world. It comes from a variety from Reunion Island off the coast of Africa. There it's called Bourbon Point 2.
Yep.
So some UCC gentlemen decided to rescue it, and they took it to Brazil, where they actually did some work on it, and this new variety, I'm not really sure what it is that they did, but this new variety is called, La Orina.
So, I mean, what they tend to do at those places, they'll be splicing and kind of bringing in other varietals, don't they, and changing the makeup of it a little bit, but keeping the major characteristics.
Right.
So, point 2, because...
It's very pointy. It's a very small seed. It's kind of like it is a long berry as well.
Yeah.
But it's very pointy as well on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see some heirloom like qualities in the seed, can't you?
Right.
And so the first auction of that, the first lot that you had of that was £27.
27 pounds, yes.
And that was sold where?
We sold it through our internet, our auction, our estate, private estate auction. And we were able to get $130, from the auction.
I was bidding on that up until about $120, and then I just thought, "What am I doing? Stop! Like, that's craziness!" And we ended up buying the yellow Pacamara from Limoncillo instead, and we bought the 2 lots, and we're much happier with that coffee.
Yeah, and I remember, I think Kentaro was the one bidding with you. So he thought he had it because you were going after the La Orina. And then when you switched down and went to the yellow Pacamara, he went crazy. Because he was taking both. There was 2 lots, and he was taking both, and you ended up taking one from him.
That's right. That dragged the auction out a little bit longer, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, no, the Lorena, I was just like, this is crazy, why am I doing it? So where did that end up? Where did that end up going?
That one went to a gentleman in Japan. He decided to buy it because he was getting married, and the ceremony was going to be at night. So he wanted for his guests to have a good, cup of coffee with very little caffeine, and he decided to do it that way.
And this year you had 25 bags. I mean, is that production going to ramp up? Are you planting more, or is that kind of where it's going to be?
No, we're planting more, but we're still in the learning process of how to manage it. Whenever we plant a new variety, we don't just plant it and forget about it. We try to see how to manage it, with the growth of new tissue, the pruning, the fertilizing, how to combat diseases, like rust and all of that. So we're still in that process. So we're being kind of careful in how we continue the growth of it, because we don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah. And so I've kind of gone off track a little bit, because the coffee we're talking about today is the yellow Pacamara, not a Lorena.
Right.
Tell us, I mean, I know we've done this before in my mug. This is like your 3rd in my mug now, and you get an old hand at it, and we've done the yellow Pacamara. But tell us about how that yellow Pacamara got found and how you ended up developing that.
Well, I mean, the yellow Pacamara that we have in San Jose comes from seed stock that we isolated in Limoncillo.
Yeah.
In Limoncillo, basically, we had one of our plots of red Pacamara. Show that we had like 3 trees. They weren't together. They were just scattered around. There were Pacamaras that were producing, yellow cherries. We had the security guard come and, bring that to our attention. And our first...
And this is super unusual. I mean, before I heard of this, I'd never heard of yellow. I've never seen a yellow Pacamara. It's just something that you get red Pacamara, and some fruiting cherries, they're just red, aren't they? You don't get those deviations.
Right.
Something like Bourbon you do, and
Exactly.
like Caturra, but you just don't see it in something like a Pacamara normally.
No, exactly. I mean, that's something. I mean, I asked. I I was at a cupping event, in El Salvador with the people from Pro Café. They're the experiment station arm of El Consejo, El Salvador. They're very, very good. So I asked them if they have ever heard of the yellow Pacamara, and they told me they didn't exist. Then I started pulling out, okay, here are my leaves, here's my coffee, here's the pictures of my cherry, and here's the coffee, let's try it, At that point, they were like, shh, please, don't say anything. We're working on isolating this variety, but we don't want producers to be coming up, to us, asking us, for seeds when it's not ready yet. So yeah, they were a little surprised to find out that we had already isolated it and we already were producing a little bit.
And what are the major differences between the red and the yellow Pacamara? I mean, are the differences on the cupping table?
Oh no, they're just day and night. I mean, the red, you have a lot more like red fruit, strawberries, red currant, things like that, And the yellow, for me, when I'm cupping it, the first thing that comes to mind is just yellow. Stone fruit, pineapple,
peach, apricots, yes, those kind of crazy yellow fruits.
Very tropical. It's a very tropical, coffee.
They hate it when I start talking colours on the cupping table because I use it a lot. I like it. This tastes of purple. I'm like, what the hell does purple taste of? Tastes like that.
Exactly.
But like, it really is, and I love the the thing that people can try the yellow and the reds of the same process on the site. And with the Limoncillo, we've done that this year with the red and yellow Pacamara, and they are just so different.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, so like
and it's weird because they come from the same stock. I mean, so you can't say. I mean, that's a natural. I mean, you can't say it's been it's a mutation because of cross pollination and stuff like that. Because at first, we said, okay, the easy answer is that it's cross pollination.
I'll be honest, that's what I've always thought it is. Is like that cross pollination. But I was shocked early when you told me.
Yeah, I mean, our farm manager, he very politely said, look, I mean, how can it be a cross pollination if we don't have any yellow coffees around? We don't have yellow Bourbons. We don't have yellow Pacuais. We don't have any yellow.
It takes a genius to point that one out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Did you feel foolish afterwards? You're like, oh yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. But no. So when you think about it, I mean, Pacamara is a cross between a Pacas and a Maragujip. The Pacas, comes. It's a Bourbon variety. And the Bourbon does have some yellow Bourbon. So maybe it's been a gene, that's been passed on from there, that's coming out just right now.
Or that red gene's been recessive and actually the yellow gene's had a chance to thrive. Or I love that this is a thing that, for me, I just always thought, it's cross-pollination. You've blown my world today by thinking I'm man to think it's something different and new now.
Yes.
Ruined it for me. Ruined it.
No, and what's funny is that right now that, in Honduras, we're planting the yellow Pacamara. And something that happens even with the red, you always have a certain percentage, anywhere between 10 to 15%, of that seed, of the Pacamara seeds, that regress either to Pacas or to Maragujipes.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
In the red, they regress to they produce red Pacas, or red Maragujipes. So we're assuming that with the yellow, it's going to be yellow Pacas and yellow Maragujip. So we have, whenever we select those out of the nursery, we have actually started planting those, separately, the yellow Pacas and the yellow Maragujips.
Wow.
To see what it is that comes out.
I definitely never ever seen yellow Pacas, never. I mean, is there such a thing, or would this be like something?
Well, I mean, again, I have never seen it, so.
Maragujip, I think are the yellow Maragujipes?
I've never seen a yellow Maragujip, no.
Oh wow.
So.
Okay.
Again, I mean, we're assuming they're going to be yellow, so hopefully that's the case, and hopefully the cup will be different and it will be really good. But it's still too early to tell.
Wait to try yellow Pacas.
We haven't. It's not.
Like, I'm a massive Pacas fan. Like I love Pacas. We were buying from this one farm in El Salvador, which was where the first Pacas was found.
Okay.
And they'd never been isolated till about 4 years ago. And we went on the farm and we were like, what, you just mix them with the Bourbon? Yeah. It's like, separate. Unfortunately, we can't get them now because the ownership has changed. But it was so devastating to try Pacas for the first time from the first farm where Pacas was found. It was a big deal for me.
No, it is.
I love the Pacas. So I really hope I get a chance to taste the yellow Pacas. There's nothing in my eye.
We will.
Good. And then, I mean, the yellow Pacamara, I remember the first time that I tasted it. It was about 4 or 5 years ago. You've got this very small lot that you just for cupping,
right?
And you were going, look at this. I remember the moment. I just like, sell me that now. And he's like, no, you got to wait.
Yeah.
So how have you marketed it? I mean, I know the first one we bought was through the auction. I mean, was that the first way that you sold it? Was through the auction?
Yes, it was through the auction.
Yes.
Now obviously this year we had a little bit more production because of all the work that we've been doing for the past 6-7 years. And so we did select the best lots, from the yellow Pacamaras to go to the auction.
Yeah.
But we also had some other really good lots that were sold, kind of like what you were bought and you have sold here.
Yeah. So the first year you only really did the washed with them. What prompted you to do a natural and I know you did a pulp natural. Did you do a funky for us as well?
Yes.
Did you do any of the Perla Negra as well?
No, we haven't done the Perla Negra yet.
That must be hard to do with that cherry particularly.
No, exactly. No, but I mean, since we haven't had that much yellow Pacamara, we really haven't experimented that much with the different processes.
Yeah.
We've kept it. I mean, obviously the first year it was totally washed. We want to see what it was. Then last year my sister did a pulp natural, and this year she did a washed, a pulp natural, and a natural as well.
And the funky when we actually phoned up from the mill and said to them, "Have you got the yellow Pacamara coming in today?" And so it was like, "Put it to one side." And I remember going and seeing the cherries in the bag like bruising up and stuff, and going, "Yay!" So that was very exciting.
Exactly.
I want to kind of talk a little bit about the way that you work the farms. So I get the feeling that you run your farms quite differently to the way a lot of farms are run in Nicaragua. And a lot of the people ask me why I end up travelling to Origin every year. So like, once I've been to your farms, do I need to go again and again? And a lot of the reason I go is to get a feeling for how the people who are working there respond and react to the people who own the farms, because let's be honest, you're a fit and healthy guy, well dressed, you've worked hard for those things, you had a career before you were in it, but I'm not feeling sorry for you as an impoverished farmer, just as you shouldn't for me, but it's a business. But the people who work for you, it's important that they're looked after. I mean, Nicaragua is I think it's the second poorest country in the northern hemisphere. Right. There's lots of issues with the people who live there to be looked. So what do you do as a producer to look after those people? Because whenever I come onto the farm, I have this feeling that the people are quite keen to see you and they're quite pleased to see you. I mean, that seems a very genuine response that you get from the people there.
Yes. Well, no, I mean, one of the things, we're very, very family focused, not only to our immediate family, but also to the families that work on the farms.
Yes.
I'm fourth generation coffee producer, if you want to call me a coffee producer. But there are some families, we have around 60, on average 60 families more or less that live in Placeres, another 60 families in Limoncillo, another 60 families live in both Los Altos and Mamamina, but in most of the families that live on these two farms in Limoncillo and Placeres, they're also, fourth, fifth generation. So their grandfather, knew my grandfather. They knew my mother, who was actually the one who was running the farms. Everything that we do in coffee, all the sales that we do, we do it with them in mind. We try to improve their quality of life, through the results of our, work in coffee. Yeah. We've been blessed enough that my father, a medical doctor, he retired, so his retirement fund is from medicine. Yeah. Up to about a year and a half ago when I was working in Cup of Excellence, my salary came from Cup of Excellence, so I wasn't getting a salary out of the farms. My sister, she was a nurse, so she used to get her salary from there. It's not till this year that she's actually getting a salary for running the mill.
Which is hard work. You definitely want money for doing that stuff.
Yes, no, it is hard work. But so everything that the mill has been producing. Sorry, not the mill. The farms have been producing. Or Fincas, Mierish, all the farms goes back to the farms to improve the quality of life for our workers. We have a school on Placeres and Limoncillo, and also in Los Altos. Los Altos, it's on Los Altos, but it's for both Los Altos and Mamamina. And San Jose, we also have a daycare, we have a community kitchen, we have a country store, where people can go in and buy at cost everything that we buy in bulk, from Managua at a much cheaper price.
And I guess you can do that because you've got all of the stores as well. It's not like one of the farm's stores, exactly. It's all of them. And I got to see firsthand the delivery arriving of that on Escondida last time, and it was like cans of pop and crisps and chocolate. Yes. Like, I mean, how important is that? Because whenever we drive to the farms, I think it's an hour in the car, it's okay. But I mean, how long is that going to take somebody from the farm to go to the town?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, for us in the car directly, I mean, it's about an hour. But I mean, for a worker at a farm actually to get out of the farm and make it to the closest town, if they want to make it to Matagalpa, it's going to take them at least a full day. You know, if they're in San Jose,
it's a long way to go for a tin of pop.
Exactly. If they're in San Jose or La Escondida, it's going to take them half a day to get to Jinotega.
Wow.
You know, so it's quite far. That's why.
Bit of a mission, isn't it? And so having the store there is just. But also, I mean, if you go to Jinotega, I'm guessing it's going to be more expensive there than the stuff you've been able to buy from Managua.
No, exactly. I mean, we have been able to centralize this and buy in bulk. You know, everything in Managua from the places that actually supply most of the stores in both Matagalpa and Jinotega. So
right.
We actually have people from Matagalpa going to our country stores on the farms to buy things so they can go resell in Matagalpa.
Wow.
You know? So it's our way to help, you know, the workers out, you know, and obviously, you know, I'm not trying to say that we're Mother Teresa, you know, that we're giving everything out for free. We're not.
No.
You know, it's got to be sustainable. You know, so you know, we keep it at cost, you know, for them in order.
Well, so you were saying earlier about that you used to give the medication out for free on the farms, and now you've started charging, but the cost price because people were taking the medication and selling it.
That's right.
And it's so right that it just can't be. It has to be sustainable in a way. But so, I mean, like at the school, it must be difficult to get teachers to come and teach on a farm.
It is. I mean, obviously, everybody wants to be a teacher in the major city. That's the easiest, you know, way to work. You know, so I mean, we built the school, so the facility, the infrastructure is ours. You know, the government, you know, assigns a teacher where they pay the teacher a salary, which is like in any other country around the world, the teachers make, you know, peanuts, you know, for the work that they do. You know, so what we do is we actually give them a complimentary salary. So we give them another salary as if they were a basic worker on our farm. So they make the salary from the state, you know, plus the salary that we give them. We give them food. We give them a place to live. You know, so what the money that they make is theirs to take home free of, you know. So I mean, we're trying to encourage them that way.
Do you tend to keep the teachers longer because of that?
We do. That's what I was going to say. You know, in most other schools out in the country, you have a high turnover of teachers. You know, we actually have our teachers fighting to try to stay there. You know,
fantastic.
Now, again, you know, whenever there's a teacher strike, because they happen very often, you know, in Nicaragua, you know, we don't allow our teachers to go on strike.
Okay.
You know, because we're like, look, I mean, yes, your salary from the government's very low, but we're giving you also money, you know, to work. So don't take it out on the kids. The kids need to go to school. So, you know, continue doing it. You know, so
that seems pretty fair.
Nobody knows that you're not going on strike because we're away from the city.
Yeah. No, that seems fair, because that's the thing with any teacher strike, isn't it? The kids are the ones who end up getting affected.
Right.
So I mean, what next for the farms? I mean, do you see your family like keeping them out of farms? Have you any plans to take? Because obviously Honduras is something that you've started to embark on personally.
Right.
You know, is there any plans within Nicaragua to do anything else, or is there like?
Well, no. I mean, my dad always, you know, is trying to do more and more and more. You know, but. We got into
How old's Dr. Maresh now? Like, so I'm too scared to ask him myself because he's a scary man. He's a lovely man. I've no need to be scared of him, but he just scares the hell out of me.
No, he's 71.
Wow.
You know, but he keeps on saying that he wants to do all these experiments, you know, big and fast because he only has another 10, 15 years left of life. You know, but he's been saying that for, you know, the past 10 years. No, he's good.
I mean, he's one of the fit. He's going to outlive us all. He's one of the fittest and most sprightly guys I've ever seen. He runs around those farms when we get up there, and he's no problem. I remember when the car got stuck the one time actually on San Jose, and he was the one that was like, "Oh, we'll move this and we'll do this," and he was like lumping things out the back of the truck and
right.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't believe he's 71. You just would not believe.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
he'd still kick my ass, I'm sure, as well.
Well, at least he kicks my ass.
Yeah.
You know, but no, so he's always trying to you know to plant more, to grow more, you know. But you know, we've gotten to the point where, you know, okay, we need to we need to make this thing work now. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's enough investment. You know,
the scale is there almost, isn't
exactly.
it? It's about to start to reap the rewards,
Exactly.
maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're talking about, you know, the future of this. I mean, you know, my kids are, you know, fifth generation. No, what? You know, I'm fourth. Yeah, they're fifth. You know, having a hard time counting here. Fifth generation, you know, but I mean, right now, as it is right now, my two oldest, who are already out in the workforce, they can't come work with the farms because they can't pay them a salary.
Yeah.
You know, so not that we want them to work for us right now, we want them to get good, solid, you know, education, experience in coffee before they can come and, you know, actually start, you know, giving something back to the company.
Yes.
You know, so if the farms can't pay a salary for a professional to run them, then it's actually not sustainable itself.
No.
You know, so we're at that crossroads right now where, okay, we've invested a lot into the farms. You know, we have done a lot of marketing for it. Now it's time to organize it where it is actually a business. If it can't be a business, you know, and run itself as a business, you know, if I were to pass away, my father, you know, my sisters, and then, you know, they got to hire somebody professionally to run them. You know, so we want to make sure that we get to that point and organize it in that sense.
I mean, you must be really proud of how the auction platform that you've set up has worked out for you. I mean, it seems like from the outside a massive success. Yes. I mean, has that helped sales in general? I mean, I'm kind of carrying on here because I'm enjoying this too much, but like, has that helped introduce new buyers, or has it really just been buyers that are already friends who are like having a chance to buy these small micro lots?
Okay, no, I mean, it's obviously the buyers, the friends that know what we produce. You know, they know that the quality of the lots that are being sold there are much. I mean, they're actually the best ones that we've produced for that 1 year. You know, they end up buying because they know what's there. You know, but we always, I mean, in the past 3 years we've had, you know, good, you know, 20-30% of new buyers coming in, you know, and finding out what the quality is. So it's, I mean, the idea of the auction is to serve as a promotional tool for us.
Yep.
It's not a selling tool. We don't pretend that we're going to go and sell all our coffees through an auction. It's impossible. No. You know, maybe not impossible, but it's too much work, and
it's impossible to achieve the prices that you've achieved on the auction.
Exactly.
You know, and then it becomes a lottery. And do you really want to do that, or have some
Exactly.
consistency of price and stuff like that?
You know, so yeah, I mean, it's a promotional tool. You know, something to put our name out there to prove the quality that we're capable of producing. You know, and that has helped us as well. You know,
I think it's definitely worked. I mean, for me, you know, your farms have become probably the most famous coffees coming out of Nicaragua. I struggle to think of other farms that have had as much exposure as you guys have had with your farms. So if it's a promotional tool, it's definitely done its thing.
That's our objective.
Yeah. So I guess we should go and do the map bit and show people the outliers of Escondida and up to San Jose.
Can I ask a question? You know,
no,
to you?
No, I do the questions. No, go on.
No, but I mean, you've been coming to Nicaragua. You know, why don't you share?
Since 2005.
Why don't you share here
10 years.
With your viewers? You know what? I mean, why do they call you Rojito?
So Rojito means red.
Yes.
I think partly that, partly this, partly I'm normally sunburnt because I never turn up at the beginning of the trip. It's always halfway through or at the end, and my nose is peeling and I'm bright red.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, it started off on the farms, didn't it? We were up on the farms and he was like, Rojito! And then you came back and told everybody in the cupping lab and they were like, Rojito! And then they told everybody in the mill and he was Rojito! And I was like, oh. So yes, I definitely have a nickname in Nicaragua. Nowhere else. Just Nicaragua.
No, in Honduras, because you know, Mackenzie, she said, "Yeah, say hello to Rojito for me."
Yes, I do. I appreciated that on Cerro Azul as well, where everybody was Rojito as well. So it's definitely a nickname that's stuck when I've been there. It's,
right.
It's kind of cute. I kind of like it. I can live with it. Yes. But I've been called a lot worse than Red. A lot worse, trust me. And in producing countries too. So yeah, no, and that's the thing. Is like, again, the friendliness when I go on the farms. That's the kind of thing that happens. Is that it's just it just seems really friendly.
Yes.
I mean, Nicaragua as a country seems. I hear it a lot, so I'm going to say it out loud that I hear it. It's like really safe, like really comfortable compared to other centres like Guatemala. I don't like Guatemala very much. Like I like the country and I like the people, I like the coffee, but Guatemala City, I stay in the hotel. But in Managua, I went out walking and I went for ages and I went around and stuff and felt incredibly safe. I mean, why is that? Because you would think a country that had a high levels of poverty and issues with social mobility and all of those would actually be worse. Why do you think it is such a safe country?
Well, just the people in Nicaragua, they're very friendly, very hospitable. And you have seen it, but also
massively.
we went, through 10 years of internal struggle, of civil war, where life didn't mean anything between us, and I think that, everybody kind of got sick and tired of death and, the infighting, that now, it's not worth it,
It definitely, you do get that feeling. Like, I've heard it from people, and I've kind of gone, "Is it really?" Yeah. But then you go, "Actually, this feels really comfortable." And definitely the being nice to each other. It's not something you see so much in Central America, but you do in Nicaragua. You kind of really do feel that, and it's really nice. I do like. I normally like to finish my trip there, if I'm honest, because it's a great airport to fly from anyway. But I don't know, just at the end of the trip I just fancy some niceness and not some scary guns everywhere, and you go to El Salvador and every bank you walk past is a man with a gun and all that, and it just seems a little less in Nicaragua. So
Yes.
Right, we better go and get this tasty coffee. Actually, no, Matt bit, and when you come back we'll be tasting the coffee. He's a very nice man, isn't he, that Mr. Maresh? I like him a lot. No, Irwin's great fun, and I hope you're enjoying this super long but super funny My Mug. So we're going across to Central America, first of all, and then, of course, we're going to focus down into Nicaragua. Nicaragua, the first ever coffee country that I visited. I must have told everybody that about 6 billion times. But great country. Lots of potential there, not a lot of altitude, but it is also known as Central America's tropical paradise because of its diverse wildlife, culture and history. See, In My Mug is not only entertaining, but it's informative. Infotainment. But we're going down to San Jose, and there we can see on the mountain, it's on the side of the mountain, and it's super close to Escondida and very, very close to Jinotega, so we should see whether we can kind of spin round and kind of see where they are. So there we're going to spin around. Isn't it fancy views? So there you can see the whole valley. It's literally on the side, and it goes all the way up to that hill as well. And the lowest point of Nicaragua, of course, is the Pacific Ocean. And the highest point, saying it doesn't have much altitude, 2,438 metres. But that's pretty much an anomaly. And you can see just over the mountain, that's Jinotega. So that's the town that it's most famous for. It's the town closest to the farm. It's not famous for it or anything. What a load of rubbish I'm talking here. But we're whizzing round and we can see just in the distance the farm. It looks really close. You have to go all the way around that mountain to get to it, so it's not very close. But that was the map bit. So we're back, and we've got some coffees. I hope it was a good map bit, by the way. I should have good coordinates for it. Espresso. You have an espresso machine in the cupping lab, don't you?
We do.
And do you drink much espresso, or is it mainly brewed? Or
no, it's mainly brewed.
Yeah.
We don't like espresso that much.
No.
It's an acquired taste, kind of like Scotch, but we haven't been.
Well, you like Scotch. I remember that one.
Yeah,
well, I don't remember much of it, but I always like to buy presents for people that like to share their Scotch, and you always do share it when I bring it, so it's always good. So. This coffee, it's a natural, but I think it's a very mild natural. I think it's definitely more elegant than some of the naturals that we've had from you before. Definitely. I get a real dark chocolate with it, and I get like a mint. Like we have these sweets, they're kind of like chocolate limes.
Yes. And
it just reminds me of chocolate limes, and it's a really kind of limey kind of kick to it. I really like this in espresso. It's actually probably my favourite way of drinking this coffee.
Okay, yeah. I like the acidity. It's very crisp, pineapple.
Yeah, I mean, and I think one thing I find really hard roasting Pacamaras is actually getting that acidity out. It can be really tough. It's very easy to screw them up, and we spend days actually when we get a new Pacamara going. It tastes like this on the cupping table, but we suddenly start brewing with it and go, oh, it's a bit roasty, or you're getting a lot of those negative notes come out. It's a real pig. Is it harder to process it? I mean, do you find that Pacamara is harder than, say, Caturra?
No, not really. I mean, we have the depulper machine that we have is a conical one.
I was thinking more along the lines of drying, because it's obviously a bigger bean and stuff.
Yeah, no,
like
it is
that.
bigger bean. I mean, obviously, as a natural, it's much easier, the Pacamara. You know, no, I mean, it's about the same. I mean, it's all about moving the coffee around, stirring it so you get more of a uniform drying. You know,
because we just find that, you know, because of the size of it, it's like if you're cooking a thick steak, you've got to approach it differently to cooking a slither of steak, and you know, Pacamara's are thick steaks, and it's very easy to cook the outside but underdevelop the inside.
Exactly.
And we have a massive hassle with them, but. And then normally with a natural coffee, I expect it to like punch through the milk, and I don't find it punching through the milk as much as I would maybe like it to.
Right.
But you just get that nice delicate coffee flavour sitting underneath, which is, you know, if you're following judges' protocols of coffee competitions, you know, you just want a coffee flavour.
Exactly.
And it does sit there really nicely.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of moo juice though.
Yeah, I was going to say the milk.
Yeah.
I'm a little susceptible to it. So.
What's the milk like in Nicaragua? I can't remember actually. Is it like UHT kind of stuff, or do you find lots of fresh milk? Or
yeah, man, we just walk out of the house and milk the cow.
I knew you were going to say that. I so knew you were going to say. Like, you're such a plastic cowboy though. A plastic cowboy. I remember the first time that we came to the house. And you got the horses, and you were like, "Come on, Steve, get on a horse." I'm not getting on a horse. They're broken. I can't steer them. There's nowhere to put the key. There's no headlights or anything.
Well, there is, but I don't think you want to put them in there.
Yeah, and were you there in Bolivia when we went horse riding?
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't.
Andrew Ford from Mountain Top.
Right. Yes.
Was it Mountain Top?
Yeah. Andrew Ford. Yes. From Australia.
So like he's a bit of a plastic cowboy like yourself, and I'm on this horse and I'm like, I don't like this, and he came along and just slapped the back of my horse and it just went, and I didn't know how to stop it. He had to literally he thought I was joking. I was like, I can't stop it, and he had to chase along me and show me how to stop the horse because there's no brakes. I was Anyway, completely off topic again. So at home, how do you normally drink coffee? How
like this?
Yeah. So what, with Chemex or AeroPress or like
percolator, man?
Percolator.
Well, it's easy. You just set it with the alarm for it to start brewing at 4:30 in the morning. You know, when we're up and about around 5, we'll just drink it.
Yeah.
Whenever we have time, you know, we'll do the Chemex.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody knows on here, like, I'm proper obsessed with Chemex. For me, it's my favourite brew method. I mean, even at home, that's all I drink at home.
Yes. No, my favourite, it had to be also the Chemex. You know, my brother Steve gave me the AeroPress, but I haven't been able to get that one done yet.
There's a great brew guide for it on our website if you ever want, and it tells you exactly how to do it all.
Okay.
So the brewed coffee, like, the espresso is definitely my favourite for this coffee. I know that it really is. Like, that chocolate lime comes through in here. The lime in this one is still there, but it's for me it's a little bit it's a little bit more under. Yeah. I think the descriptor I've used on the website, if I remember, like when we first cupped it, was mojito. So it's got a little bit of a mint to it. It's got a little bit of a lime kind of interesting acidity. It's unusual for a natural though to have that much acidity. I mean, what do you think you've done differently? What do you do differently to other people's naturals?
Oh boy, I'm not really. I mean, we don't really do anything, specific to increase the acidity.
But then I guess the yellow Pacamara tends to be higher acidity anyway.
The yellow Pacamara, it does have a little higher acidity, and also this one, this is one of our highest Pacamaras. This one we got it planted around 1450 meters above sea level.
Yeah.
So it is, the acidity does come through a lot more.
And is that because of the slower maturation of the cherries, do you think? Or is it like, what is it that makes acidity increase with higher altitudes? Because I give these guys all the figures all the time. So I'll say, this is 1900 metres, it's a Bourbon. And then I get people saying, so why do you tell us the altitude? And I kind of go, I don't know. I just know it, so I'm telling it you. Somebody told it me. I was sharing the information with you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really don't know. I mean, it's a good question, because we do have, like in Mamma Mina and in Los Altos, we have the same altitude. We have a slower ripening, period because of all the humidity, the cloud.
You get a lot of low cloud in there, don't you?
Yeah.
Which is like, and during the morning and during the evenings, the cloud
Right.
drops really quickly, doesn't it?
Exactly.
But I remember particularly on Mamma Mina just kind of going, oh my God, it was like somebody had put a smoke machine on. It was
just
filling the whole
rolls
valley.
in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I mean, at that farm we have a longer or a slower ripening period, and no, the acidity is not considerably much higher than what it is in San Jose, even though they're the same altitude. But in San Jose we have a longer daylight hours
Right.
come through. So it's a little bit of a quicker ripening as compared to Los Altos and Mamma Mina. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I think with a longer ripening period, you get more of a sugar development, so you probably influences a little bit more of the sweetness.
Okay.
Altitude is what really gives you the acidity in coffee, but nobody really knows. I mean, I haven't heard anybody telling me why that is.
Yeah. I'm you're never upset with a higher altitude to a lower altitude, but I'm not quite sure why. If somebody said it's 1900 metres or 1700 metres, I'd probably choose it to be 1900 metres.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I've no idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody caught me out. I was at a coffee event the weekend, and somebody asked me that question, and I just went, "You talk about altitude all the time. Why?" I was like, "I don't know. I talk about Sunderland all the time. Why?" But yeah.
No, but I mean, acidity also has a lot to do with varietals. Because we also have red Catuai at the same altitude that we'd have this yellow Pacamara, and it doesn't have that intensity, and refined acidity like this one has.
Do you know, I just took a gulp then, and what I'm used to with the washed yellow Pacamaras is that creaminess and the kind of the viscosity of it.
Yeah.
And as this has cooled, it's actually got super viscous as well. It's
I mean, something about the yellow Pacamara that I love is that the way it changes as it cools. So you get a whole bunch of different experiences while you're enjoying the coffee.
Yeah, no, definitely. Listen, thank you for joining me for this one. Thank you for the amazing coffee. We are the only people we work with in Nicaragua is you guys, because you give us all the variety we could possibly want. And I properly love lots of these coffee, particularly the yellow Pacamaras. And this is the first year of having the San Jose. We've been really pleased to share it with these guys, and I know that they're going to love this one. This is a bit of a treat because this is not cheap coffee. As Erwin said, the yellow Pacamara is a little bit more money, and because it's a little bit more demand for it as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
But so this is a treat to you guys for a very special in my mug guest. So thank you for joining me.
No, thank you.
And do remember, life is definitely too short for bad coffee.